So entity types, we have got the value data type and then the entity type. The different types of objects that we have and the Hibernate is two. One is value data type and the other one is like entity type. The value type, okay, they will not have the primary key and they don't have their own life cycle. They depend on the other entity which has the primary key, and they are divided into three types: basic, composite, and then the collection type. Whereas this entity type, they have got the primary key which we have created yesterday. They can exist independently, and entity instance maps to the rows and the tables. So identity we have generated, that is the primary key. Now, in order to generate the primary key, you can use the database sequence or the native generator and or the increment high-low generator. It is an algorithm that will generate the primary key based on the high and the low algorithm. Assigned as you can manually assign it identity columns in the sequences. So, but this identity column in the sequences, it depends if it is available in the database and you can use it, otherwise you cannot use. So in case of database sequence, generator class is equal to sequence, param name is equal to sequence, ID is equal to sequence. That is, if you're specifying as sequence, then it will try to create a sequence object. It will try to create a sequence object. If in case if the sequence object is not there, then it will generate Hibernate underscore sequence object. Simple sequence object is used for generating the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and then so on. This number that are being generated automatically can be used as the primary key. So whenever you are like when you're providing to the ORM, you have to specify the metadata about the classes. So metadata about the classes is either done with the help of HVM, Hibernate mapping file, or you can do it in terms of annotations. If you're using it in terms of annotation, then you should annotate your class with at the rate entity, and whichever column you want to consider or you want to treat it as primary key, that should be annotated with at the rate ID, and generated value is equal, that is strategy is equal to generation type dot sequence, that is use the sequence number generated for this primary key. Now over here increment we have, so under increment it will start from 1. For row 1, let's say okay, you are creating the employees. For first employee the number is 1, second employee 2, 3, 4, so on. And again generated is equal to increment over here. Native, it depends whichever how the database is selecting the key, creating a composite key in the Hibernate key. Now over here, if you want to create a composite key in the Hibernate, let's say your composite key, it is a combination of this two, department ID and then the ID card. So if you have to create the composite key, then this is how we'll create. You will use the element called composite ID and then you will specify key and then the property. As we have the composite key in the relation database management system, that is the key that is comprised of more than one column. In the same way, if you want to create it in the Hibernate, then you will be using the element composite ID. Within that, you will mention the names of the column which you want to consider as the primary key. Key property name is equal to department ID, column is equal to department ID, and again card ID. This one. So multiple ID properties as the identifier type. That is one of the way. And The other way, if you're using the annotation, as you'll create a class called employee ID, and in that ID you will place all the columns that are working as primary key, that is department ID and the ID card. Now next, you're creating a class by name employee that has got department ID, ID card, name, F name, etc., etc., etc. Now for this, if you want to tell to the Hibernate that this class is having the uh, composite primary key, you will annotate it twice, and you have to annotate the class with @ID class annotation employee ID dot class. Composite ID class is equal to employee ID in the same way. And the last one what we have is like composite ID as a property using the component type. So you're creating a separate class, public class, ISBN, group, publisher, title, reference, check digit. This you want to make the primary key for the book, and embeddable you're using. So ISBN @ID. So this class, this complete class, you're using it as a primary key. So if you're using the class as a primary key, it should be annotated with the annotation @embeddable. Now, when you want to save or update the object, now save or update, we are having a function that is called as save or update, session.save or update. So when the Hibernate will call the save function, and when the Hibernate will call the update function. Let's say you're having a entity called Tom. You're having an entity called Tom. So what the Hibernate will do is it will check whether this is associated with the primary key or not. Now for this Tom, it is not associated with the primary key. This one Tom is not associated with the primary key. So your Hibernate, okay, because it is not associated, it will check, is it present in the persistence context? Is it present in the persistence context? Because it is not present in the persistence context, it will generate the primary key for this. It will generate the primary key for this because it is creating the primary key for this object for the first time. This is a new object. After it creates the primary key for this object, it will move this object into the persistence context by calling the save method. It will move the object into the persistence context by calling the save method. Let's say if the object was already present. Now it checks. Now next time it checks. For this term, it checks that this object is already present in the persistence context. Yes, the object is already there. In this case, what it does is it will update the object. Tom and then Tom. It will call the update method. If it is not there, it will create the primary key and then associate the object with the with the persistence context by invoking the save method. Is this clear? Save or update? In the session, you are having a method called save or update. So first, it will check in the persistence context. If the object is already associated with the persistence context, then it calls the save, and sorry, it updates the object. If the object is not associated with the persistence context, it will create a primary key for the object and save the object, and it will move the object into the persistence context. So save or update, it is used for saving the ADT for the first time as well as updating it for in the future. Okay, over here simple. Let's say okay, you want to execute this, you are having a table that is called as departments, and then okay, you are having something that is department test. You're trying to insert this into the system. Now, when you're trying to insert this into the system, now can you just let me know over here, what are you using? D.set location. Are you setting the other values? That is only location you are setting. Are we providing values for the department name and the manager ID? Over here, I repeat, when you're creating an object D.departments, you're just setting the location ID. We are not providing the values for department name and the manager ID. So when this statement is executed, this is how it is executed. If dynamic insert is equal to false, it will only specify the columns what we have mentioned over here, what we have set over here. That is location ID and department ID is set by default. So values. If in case dynamic insert is set to false, it will invoke all the columns in the query list. Manager ID, department name, location ID and department name, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. If it is set to false. Unnecessary, it will use all the columns. It will include all the columns in the column list. If dynamic insert is set to false, this is what is happening. It has included all the columns in the column list. Manager ID, department name, location ID, and then the department ID. And when it is set to true, it will only use location ID and then the department ID. Whichever columns you're using, it will use that. Okay, now next. That is just this one. Okay, you have to annotate the class with @dynamic insert, and then okay, you can check this. Now component mapping, as we have already discussed. Let's say you're having a class called person, and then you are having another class called address. So entity type and then the value type. Entity type means it will have the primary key, whereas value type will not have the primary key. Now person is having the address. So when you are trying to save, okay, when you try to save the person into the system, this value type will be saved along with the primary key. Sorry, it will be saved along with the parent table, with its parent entity. So it is not going to create two separate tables, one for person and the other one is for the entity. So if you see over here, you have got person ID and then the first name, and address, you are making it part of the person. Address, you're making it part of the person. So when you're making this address as the part of the person, all the fields of the address, that is city, state, and the country, will be included or will be merged with the person's table. So person ID, first name, city, state, and then the country. So this is called as value type, means this class will not have a separate ID. This class will not have a separate ID. So how do you do this? Is like, this is what you're having. We are having a class called address and you're having a class called customer. Class name, this is how you do. ID you are creating, and then first name. Now, if you have to create the component, this is how you will create. Component name is equal to address, specify the name, property, and etc. 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 Now, let us do this. Right click, new, package. right click, new, class. So your class name is a person. Private string if name. If you want to add any other attributes, you can add it. I'm creating another class called address. City. Provide setter in the getter methods. For the person class, you need to make the address as a part of the person. So now you need to create the mapping files. Right click, new, click other, Hibernate XML. You can go to the categories over here. You will get the Hibernate XML mapping file. Select this, click next, click finish. So you don't have to type it, Hibernate will already generate. So Hibernate mapping. So this is the person ID. Assigned, okay, over here you're using the generator class as assigned. That is, it has to generate the what do you say? You have to generate the primary key. Okay, sorry, this has, let me delete this because it has generated. So this is the person class. Component class is com dot component dot address, and the name is equal to address. And then okay, you have got this way, component name is equal to address class, and then okay, you have to specify this property, city, state, and then the country. So property name is equal to, what is that we have written? Okay, fine. City, column name, or up and control space start code. Column is equal to city, state, and the country. Done. So if you want to make one entity as a part of the another, this is how you'll do it. So once you have done, okay, then again you can write the test class, right click new class, component test, public static void create person, get the reference to the session factory object, and after that, okay, you'll create person, because address is associated with the person. Let us create a reference to the address, city XXX, factory.open session, get the session, and then get the reference to the transaction object, commit, start and end. So in between, okay, you need to write the code to save the object. So save what person? And then test it, run as, okay, sorry, you need to write the main method. Unknown entity com.example.component.person. So you need to map this entity in the Hibernate configuration file. So you can click mappings over here, click add item, and click select resource, browse. So it will add this. No. mapping com/example/person.hvm.xl. So now let us execute this. Right click, run as Java application. Done. It is saved. Password is root. Use. So describe person. It has created a person by name, and city, state, and the country is embedded. So select star from. So this is what it has added, John XXX, and these are like some previous values that already existed. So person ID, John, city, state, and then the country. Oh. Now if in case if you're doing it via annotations, this is how you will do it. At the rate embeddable and at the rate embedded. Now what we have done is using XML mapping. There are two ways to work with Hibernate. One is with the XML mapping, other is using annotations. If you're using annotations, then this class, this component class, you have to annotate it with the rate, with at the rate embeddable annotation, and wherever you are including that, you have for that you have to use it at the rate embedded value, and then you will like save it. The test class will be as usual. Now next is component mapping using collections. Now over here you see address you have and then the customer you have, and it is possible that you may have more than one address. One is like temporary address you might give and the other one is permanent address. So if you have to map it via collections, okay, you are using the collection that is set. So for that purpose, you're using the set name is equal to address. That is, it should create a table by name address. Inverse is equal to false means this is not the primary component. This is the primary key. This is the owner entity. This is not the owner entity. Lazy is equal to true. That is, okay, at the runtime it should retrieve these collections from the system. Now key you have, column name is equal to customer ID, and then composite element class is your address, name is city, and then this one, and then finally you close this. Is this clear?
Atika, 1 second. Stay on this slide. I'm just trying to grasp it.
Okay.
So I think I didn't follow. Where is the collection here exactly?
This one, set. Set is a
Let
collection.
me table column name customer ID. Uh, so you can have multiple composite elements or what inside it?
Yes.
Okay, so that composite element tag will repeat. Like if you have,
No, no, no. You
I
will
mean,
be writing. One,
oh,
1 minute. Let you just give me a second.
okay. Oh, okay, okay, I understand now. I understand. Okay, okay. So you
Can
have
you
a
see it?
member variable which is a
Yeah.
set, and that
Yes.
set is what you defined here as your
Yes,
composite.
yes. We're having a
Okay,
member
got it.
variable by name set, and this is what we have defined. And it is a composite
Okay,
element. And this is a composite element.
right, got it. Okay, thank you.
So that is okay. You will have, this is at the runtime. Okay, this is how it looks like. So it is going to create one table. So this is your person. So over here, person, what are we doing? So what is it? Customer ID. Fine. Customer ID and then the first name we have. Customer ID and then the first name. And it will create one more table, that is the address table. It will not have the address ID. So it will have like customer ID is the reference, and city, state, and finally you are having country. So customer ID is 1, and let's say okay, this is like Tom. Now this customer is having two addresses, one permanent, let's say other temporary. So it will create one, and then let's say XX, 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 and then 2, YY, YY, YY. Clear with this? So this is how this is going to look like. So see over here, customer ID, this thing, first name, and because this is a set, like this one, okay, it will create a table by name address, wherein key column is like customer ID. This will work as a foreign key, and the other elements what it is having is like city, state, and then the country. City, state, and then okay, you are having the country. Now for this set, that is okay, this customer, it can have two address. Let's say one is temporary, other one is permanent. So this is again for the same customer, it should be 1. So customer ID, collection of addresses. So this is like collection of addresses. Clear with this?
Yes, I think I have a question. Not on this one, but something else. On uh, the example that you just did, person address, right? Um, can you go back to that example code
Okay.
in your Eclipse?
Hmm.
Okay, so here, so the person dot HBM the file, the XML file for person, right? The Hibernate XML file, right?
Hmm.
So this for every entity that we are defining, let's say we have person, we have, I don't know, department, or right. So
Hmm.
for every entity that we are defining, we need a separate XML file for them, or we can define all of them in one.
Like better is that you go with a separate XML file, or if you want to define all in one, this way you can do it.
Okay, so there is a way to define all in one.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, got it. And then if we define separate files, then all we have to do is go to the Hibernate config XML and add the
Yes.
mappings, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. What is the model there inside? You have a model folder. What was there in that? The com example model. It was for yesterday's example or
Yesterday's
something?
one event.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, welcome. So we will just modify, like let me copy this. So component dot collections. So we will be using the same example. We'll just modify this. So in the person class, instead of just using this set, you will be using this as a collection. Set of address. Control Shift O, include it, and then provide the setter and then the getter methods. So generate setter and then the getter method. So once you have generated the setter and then the getter methods, then go to this Hibernate mapping file. Set name is equal to address, and then the table what you want to generate for this one is address. And then what should be the key for this? Key. Column name is equal to person ID. Okay, sorry, here. So this is your composite element. Done. Now, over here when you go to this component test class, so this is address 1, and let's say this is address 2. This is temporary, so temp, and let's say this is permanent address. permanent, permanent, person, person dot set name is John. Now you need to add these two addresses to the set of address of address is equal to new has set. So after you create this, address dot add a and then address dot add of b. So temporary and the permanent you have added. So after you have added, now let us execute this. Right click, run as Java application. So unknown entity, you need to include this. Component slash collections slash one minute.
I think
Yeah.
in XML, the person XML, there
Huh?
is this package you can wrong. If you go back to the Eclipse,
This one? Yeah, this one I guess.
the yeah,
Yeah, correct. Com.example.
no, it's collections, right? Component dot collections.
Yeah, correct. Just collections. Component dot collections. Collections dot persons. Yes, this one is also component dot collections dot address. I don't know what we have given over here. Component dot collections. This is fine. Address. This is correct. person. Okay, now let us test it. Just hold on for a second. Okay, actually, okay, we are trying to save P. Whereas P, we have treated this as address. It should be person. This one, we are trying to save this as P. So this is not P, this is person. So right click, run as Java application. So save, so it has created two tables, one by name person, the other one is by person address. So select star from person, 0 John, and then select star from address. Sorry, it is person address. 0 permanent and then the type. So this is how okay, you can map collections.
Atika, sorry, I missed that. What did you fix to make it work?
1 minute. Now over here we actually written P. So it was trying to save
Ah,
this address.
okay.
So it should be this thing person.
Right. Okay.
Now the next when it comes to inheritance, similarly okay you will have for list and then the map. As we have done it for the set, similarly okay you have it for the list as well as for the map. That also will become list map and then the back mode 3 we have. In table per class hierarchy, now in the table per that is okay inheritance. As we have said that we don't have the concept of polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction and all these concepts we don't have in RDBMS, but this we have it in our object model. So let's say okay, if you are having a question class and for that okay, you are having a text question and then a multiple choice question. So if you say table per class hierarchy, that is if the inheritance relationship exists between two classes and if you are creating an object for the text question, then it is, sorry, if you're having like table per class hierarchy, what it does it, that is for the complete hierarchy, it is going to create one table. So first question ID, question text and marks. question ID, question text, marks, and then answer, and then the max length, answer, max length, and then the correct options. Uh, Correct option over here we have, and then four options we have: option A, option B, option C, and then the option D. Now let's say now you're creating an object of the text question. If you're creating an object for the text question, so you will have altogether five fields: question ID, question text, and the marks, answer, and then the length. So this is what you have. First question text is Java, marks we have set it as 4, answer is Java is a language, maximum length what you can write, like what the question what you can give the answer for us, like 10 words, let's say. uh, and rest of the fields are marked as null, null, null. Now, because these fields, correct options in this option, because it does not belong to this test question, so all these fields are marked as null. And next is, okay, you're creating an object for the MCQ. C sharp marks is 2, because this answer under the max length, it belongs to the text question, so these two fields are marked as null and the null. So for options, you're providing OOP, structured, framework, procedural, and then the correct option. And then again, you're creating an object for the MCQ. 3, apple, 2, null, 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 fruit, object, cabbage, rock, whatever is the correct option. So because these two fields, it does not belong to this, we are marking this as null and then the null. Now, because over here, if you observe the text question, MCQ, and if you're having some other classes, subclasses, all you're storing it in the one class itself. All we are storing it in the same class. So in order to differentiate whether this row it belongs to the text question or the multiple choice question, we are adding one more column called the discriminator column. So in the discriminator column, if it's like, okay, you can give the variable name for the text question. TQ is the symbol what we are giving, and for the MCQ question, MCQ we are giving. So if this is like, if discriminator is TQ, then it means that this row belongs to the text question. If the discriminator value is equal to MCQ, then it means, okay, this question it belongs to this MCQ class. Is this clear how it stores?
I think a question. So the MC, in case of MCQ, like here I'm looking at this example,
Hmm.
the fields answer and max length. So they won't be populated, is it? I mean, what if I want to store question as such? Would it populate everything?
If you want to store this question,
Yeah.
now
No,
three it will store: question ID, question text, and marks. Rest will be null.
so wait. So text question is a class which is it is so question is a superclass of text question, or is it embedded inside it?
No, no, it is a super class.
Oh, okay. So then in that case, it will only store the class that you are defining it as. What is it? The how do
Child
you call
class.
the how do you
Derived
call the
class.
first derived?
Super class.
Yes.
First class is super class, and the text question you can call it as derived class.
Right. No, but what is the first column here? The DISC. What is that
Okay,
called?
discriminator column.
Right. Okay. So the depending on the discriminator, it will just basically populate only those fields, not everything. Right.
No, 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 no. This discriminator value also we will only give.
Okay.
Now let's
Oh,
say,
so basically what you're saying is for every class, like in a hierarchical structure, whatever this, like this structure, for example, every class has got a discriminator value, like a
hmm,
UMCQ, whatever. And then
hmm,
when you're inserting, you will say that, okay, this is a TQ object, and then it will know exactly which columns to populate.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So it is going to, okay, okay, I think I got it. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So So let's say, okay, this is how you're creating question ID, text marks, setter and the getter methods. And then, okay, MCQ, again, you're generating the setter and the getter methods. Now over here, if you see, this is for, okay, MCQ. So this is your base class, that is the question ID, and discriminator column is equal to question type, or DISC in our case. Property name is equal to Q text, and then the marks, question ID, text, and the marks up to here for the parent class. And okay, in the subclass, this is your subclass. Your subclass is MCQ. Discriminator value is equal to MCQ. Here we are giving, and that is if in case if you're creating an object of the MCQ class, then it should create, then the discriminator value should be MCQ. Property name is equal to correct option, and then, okay, you're using this as an array. So array name is equal to option, table is equal to option, cascade is equal to all. Key column is equal to question ID you're keeping, index column is equal to index, and element is equal to options, and then type is equal to java.lang.string. So array elements, okay, this is how you are going. So array name is equal to opt, this one, and for this it is creating another table called options, and cascade is equal to all. Key column is equal to question ID, you can keep it, and then the index column is equal to IDX, and element name is equal to option, and type is equal to java.lang.string. Oh, sorry, but like if you want it this way, then in that case, okay, you should create 4 properties: option A, option B, option C. Okay, we'll remove this and we will create 4 options as per our diagram: option A, option B, option C, and then the option D. Anyway, both will work.
Atika,
Yeah.
what is this key index element?
No, no, if in case, because array again it is a collection like set. Previously we have
Okay.
defined set. Similar to that, array is also a collection. So in order to store the values of the arrays, you are creating one more separate table called options. So that will have key column is equal to question ID, index column, and then the element is equal to option. So if we just map this, so you are having uh, 3 columns over here. So first is your question ID, and then the text, and then the marks you are having. For the array, it is going to create separate table. This is the table how it is going to create the separate table. Its key column is index, this one, and then index for the array elements 0, 1, 2, 3, and then the option. So options you're placing all together in a separate table. So let's say Java, and then marks 5, question question ID, and index is 0, option language Apple. So these are the 4 options you are giving: 0, 1, 2, and then 3. So options you're storing it all together in a separate table. Clear with this? Java, you have this one. So this is mapped to this for the array index 0, 1, 2, 3, and for this language. So this is similar to this, like you create an array in the Java programming, you create an array and it has got the index 0, 1, 2 and then 3, and then over here let's say you have given these values, language, and then Apple ASDF SDF. And if you want to store this values, sorry, if you want to store this array as a collection, this is how you can do it. If you want to store array in the database, so if you have to store the array in the database, this is how you will do it. Array element is equal to options, that is the name of the, okay, this will become the, this is the name of the array, options. So this will become the name of the table, and it has got key element, that is the question ID, because this array is being mapped to this question ID. This is your index column, and so this is your property or element, you can say that this is what we call it as array element, and this is your index column. So this is your index column and this is the element. Is this clear now? Let me show you this. Okay, this one. Question ID, index column, element is equal to option, type is equal to java.lang.string. If you're using array, this way you have to use it. So I just have like I wanted to have done this way is so that okay we can include this collections concept. And like when you are creating this, this is how it is going to. One MCQ, question type discriminator column, question text, marks, and then the correct option. Array it is just moving. The array it is moving to the separate table. So create a package com.example dot what is that? Table per class. Sorry, table per hierarchy. That is for the complete hierarchy, it is going to create only one table. So here you have got new class as question, private integer question ID you have got, and then private string question text, and then private integer marks. Constructor using field, create a no argument constructor, and then create the generate, setter, and the getter methods. Click OK. After you have created question, then you will create text question. So for this you have got private string like answer, and then private integer length. And then generate, getter, and then the setter methods. So once we have done this, okay, fine. So similarly, okay, you need to create the MCQ. private string collect option, and then private string option A, option B. It depends on what you want to use. Option C. I'm just showing you both of these. Option D. Alt Shift S. Constructor using fields. Deselect. Done. Alt Shift S. Generate getter and then the setter methods. So after we have done this, as usual, we need to create the mapping files. But if you are using the annotations, it will be more easy. You can try that. Hibernate mapping files. So I just want to create one class. Now after this, okay, you need to add one more column called discriminator column. Oh yeah, this column you need to add it. This one, discriminator column. Let me just copy this. You can give the name to the column discriminator. Now, if you have to specify, Control Shift F. Now, if in case, okay, if you have to specify the subclasses, this is how you do it. Subclass, okay, you need to create two subclasses. One for text question and another for your MCQ question. So within this, you need to create subclass for text question, and you need to create one more subclass for multiple choice question. Let me add this. So over here it is MCQ. Okay, we have changed this. Instead of array, we are using property elements so that it maps to the example what we have discussed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is option A. Oh, sorry. Let me check what we have written. Option A, option B. So it is option A, option B, option C, and finally we have got option D. So over here discriminator value what you're using is this, and then subclass for MCQ is this one, and then next is subclass for so table per class, okay, sorry, table per hierarchy basis. So let us change this. So table per hierarchy you're doing, okay, fine. Okay, for this we have got two properties. One is answer, and the second option what you have is length. And change this to What is that? Text question. Done. And then okay, you need to include this and the Hibernate configuration file, session factory, mappings, click on items over here, select resource, done. Create class call question test. Public static void create questions. Create the session factory. Now MCQ Q dot. I think okay, we did not use extends over here. MCQ dot accept marks, set marks, set question ID 1, and then MCQ dot set question text. And over here you've got option A, language. Oh shit. MCQ dot set option B something, and then MCQ dot set option C, and then MCQ dot set option D, and then okay, you need to set the correct option. MCQ dot set correct option, that is A. So once we have done it, okay, now let's create one more for text question is equal to new text question. Text question dot set question ID is 2. Text question dot set question text, that is like describe about polymorphism. So text question dot set length maximum of 100 characters. Text question dot set answer derived, etc., 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 whatever you want to write. Text question dot set marks, I guess. Let us keep it as 4 marks. So this is done. So I think, okay, we must the discriminator column. So discriminator is MCQ, and for this it should be text. Open the session object. Session is equal to factory dot open session. Control Shift O. Session dot get the transaction dot begin. Session dot save. Uh, Save it as MCQ. Session dot save text version. You need to include this mapping file and the Hibernate config. So person, so mapping resource is equal to com slash example slash table per hierarchy RACHY slash question dot hbm dot xml. Right click, run as. So define main method. You need to write public there is some error in the Hibernate config file. Okay, we have missed the closing bracket. Right click, run as Java application. So it is saved. So describe question. It has created an object by this. So if you execute this, select star from question. So this is what you have. It's not being displayed properly because of the Windows opens perspective, other database development. Let me connect to this. So this is the result what you have. See your 1, 2, question text marks. Wherever the options are not available, there it is giving it as null, null, null. So this is table per hierarchy. So with this, we'll wind up for today. The other stuff what we're having, like table per subclass and table per concrete class, that we will be discussing in the next class.